Okey dokey.
I have to do a reaction
Why?
because it's just, I have to. All right, I don't know what Dave's doing, but we're doing really good here tonight. It's 25 to 7, 8 and we're
Started.
Dave, are you with us?
Not
We can
yet.
hear you. K3,
His audio is not connected yet.
All right, what do you want to do? You want to move on and come
He
back?
did email the group that we made a penny. No other transactions.
There was a else.
I'm good with
Wait,
that.
that's supposed to-
Treasury-
The treasury report accepted.
All right, we'll come back to the treasury report. Let's move on to some old business. Mike, what do you got?
All right, so let me readjust my notes. Hold on one second, please. Come on. Okay, old business / new business is the president's seat is up for election. We did not need a nominating committee this year because we only had one nomination. That was Wendy. Because there was only one nomination and no votes were needed, it's a uncontested vote, uncontested win. I forget what the term is. So
I deserve a recount.
So the new business part of this is congratulations, Wendy. You are our new president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your term will start at the
Yeah, you have to
end
still vote
of
on
the December meeting.
You still have to vote on it.
Well, listen, Mike, we still have to vote on it, even though we only have one nomination, so.
We don't have to.
You don't have to.
We don't have to. Voting had to been done already.
Well, then it's officially Wendy's a dictatorship then.
No.
No, it's an uncontested win. We don't have to vote. I checked. We can choose to vote, but that would have had to have gone out already. Because there's no way to vote in private unless I send out an email.
Right.
But we don't need to vote.
Well, Wendy, welcome on board as our incoming president.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, is there any other formalities here? Yeah, thumbs up.
Okay.
Old business.
There, a little thumb. Look at those thumbs.
The emergency test was last month, or I'm sorry, it was the beginning of this month. The STEM program was put on hold because of schools, not by us. We talked about a donation from Paul's neighbor, which in complete irony is a good friend of or father of a good friend of mine and who I also know, Dr. Chuck. I did not put those two together, which is really funny, but so I don't know if we want to revisit any of that. We don't have to.
I don't think we have, I guess, anybody would want to? I think we're good. We can move on.
Okay. So I'll move on to new business.
New business.
Oh, what about
So new business that we.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Mike,
Yeah.
pause. Winter Field Day.
Winter Field Day.
Yes.
Why don't I have that in here?
Yeah, I don't know why. We did talk about it though.
Mhm.
Oh, because it was last month's old business.
Okay, true, because we started the conversation back in September. It was at
Yeah.
least brought up. So, Mike, you want to reiterate? Mr. Program Director? Would you like to reiterate what our initial plan is?
But the initial plan was to operate a modified field day at Lum's Pond in one of the yurts.
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 Yurts. Yurt.
YURTS.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think is
Yurts.
what
That's
it's
how
spelled.
it's.
And we're looking for equipment and some type of solar panels or something to run that is very quiet, not like a generator.
So, one of the questions I'll throw out, I think I did this last meeting, was just initial thought, who on the call here has interest in wanting to partake in winter field day? Give me some thumbs up.
I see one,
I
I
see
see
two,
two, I
Three,
see three,
4, 5.
4, 5.
Oh, thumbs. Is there a way to do a thumbs up on here?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just put your thumb up like that.
Well, I put my thumb up.
Jeff, I
think
like that fingers with the little thing.
There's a raised hand.
Jeff is getting his point across, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So, all right, great. So that, I mean, there's a consensus here for the group. I'm glad to see that because then, what's up?
Dave's audio is on there.
Okay, yeah, well, I guess before we go to no news, we'll go look at the treasury report.
Yeah.
I think maybe what we'll do, I'll work with Mike, maybe put something up, maybe a quick presentation. Do what we do normally with field day, you know, provisions and such. This time you gotta bring marshmallows and because you're gonna make s'mores. Gotta have a campfire.
yes, you're more familiar with what a IRCS is.
I know what your yurt is just a round, looks like a teepee, but it's a little more modified.
It's like a round teepee with walls, basically.
Yeah. You can stand in it, it's convenient. I don't know how big it is though, in diameter.
They're kind of spacey. Depends on the size. The ones at Lum's Pond are actually kind of nice.
Okay, so that's where we're gonna go.
So Jeff, how big do you think it is in terms, just an idea in size, with diameter?
Diameter is probably about 15, 20 feet, I'm
Oh,
guessing.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
So how many-
deck in there and bunk bed, from what I can remember.
Bunk beds.
So we could do a 2A from there easy.
Here we go.
Here we go,
Here we
2A,
go.
1A, okay.
Well, this is an ARRL, so do they have the same rules?
No, it's slightly
Okay.
different.
Okay.
What were you gonna say, Wendy? You were gonna say something?
I was just going to ask, how many people did he think we could fit comfortably in there? Like if we had a couple of folding tables with chairs?
Nobody's going to be comfortable. It's winter.
Oh, I know.
How true that.
Depending on how much stuff you put in there, I'd definitely say 5 to 7 people, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
That's about like what our tents
What if
was.
we put a generator in there? Can we do that?
And close the door.
Have one outside.
A Honda's quiet. Let's bring a Honda and put it in there with us.
Put it outside. Don't put it in there.
Just make sure you put the ground rod in. That's right, right?
Yeah. But I'm thinking we could charge batteries during the day.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of a
And-
battery and bringing them in,
Bringing them batteries in at night.
Yeah.
I
do have a very large gel cell.
One battery could probably run you 24 hours, honestly.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I mean, we
And
could,
the second one is a
Two-
backup.
Two would probably, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, we could be a little bit of a,
Large
we can do a
marine
little,
size
we can
battery.
do something, then going back to our themes that we try to do, maybe we do a QRP based approach.
Yeah.
We don't have to do full power.
For those of you who are on the call, Foster just sent a link to Lum's Pond. You guys want to take a look at that? I don't know if you could do
I've
that.
seen it, yes.
I'm talking to everybody else that's, if they want to see a link of it.
Wants to share it.
It's in the chat, probably.
You have to let him share.
Sorry, it's in the chat. I just wanted to, it shows a picture of the yurt and the bunk bed in the inside and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
So that's our plan. That's our plan A for right now. We don't have a plan B, so we're gonna find out within the next week or so if that's available. So we'll let you know.
Now you have to share that.
No, I don't want
You
to.
know, you can reserve them online.
Yes.
How many people are going to use a yurt at the end of January?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, that when I was there for Winter Field Day a few years ago, there was other people there. So
Okay. For field day.
not for field day, but we used
Oh.
a yurt for field day.
Okay, okay. Wow, that takes a long time you're in that yurt.
Yeah, do you bag that?
I'm bagging it. All right, let's get back to the meeting here. TripAdvisor.
I have the link. I have the link captured in the minute.
Thank you. Okay, so Mike, I guess next month we'll put together a couple slides, kind of, maybe you and I will do another survey down there again.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem taking the drive down, do a survey and see what our options are. Because I think that'd be pretty cool, you know? All right, anybody want to contribute on this topic, or we want to move on? All right, we're gonna move on. All right,
So
go ahead.
I had a question. So Mike, is there the minutes of the meeting and the recordings, or where are those right now? Where do we stand on those?
So the minutes for the last few months are up on the website in the normal location.
Okay,
The last month's meeting, I have not processed the video yet. I also have a copy of June's video. I don't have others.
You
I
can't
went-
copy those videos. They're too
I
big.
went to a link that Alan gave me for May's, but it's no longer present.
So,
So
yeah. I mean, the
yeah, I
bottom
was
line-
out June, July, and August, so I don't, if somebody has minutes, I will, put them in the appropriate format and location, but I wasn't there.
okay, so the place where they're gonna be stored is still on the website, right?
The videos are on our YouTube channel.
Right, but there's gonna be a
minutes-
link, there's a link
Yes.
on the website.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right. All right, I'm gonna put the meeting on pause. Dave, are you with us now?
I am so with you.
That is so great.
Hey, Dave, do you have any video?
Not at the moment.
Well, I think
Because we'd like to see you. We haven't seen you in months.
Mike's concern is that you are actually a bot.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's not such a treat.
And the real Dave is.
He's running over the money.
With the money.
Okay. So Dave, we put the session on pause and you can give us a treasurer's report. Okay?
Hold on.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, I'm gonna put the Zoom session on pause and you can give a treasurer's report.
Okay, I can do that.
All right, give me a sec. Where is the pause button? Right over.
Where is it?
Where is it?
More. Under more?
More.
Hey, Alan, while you're doing,
Oh,
while you're doing that,
Yeah.
can you make me a co-host?
Yeah.
Kind of like Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
Here's Alan.
Where's Jerry been lately?
And here's Alan.
You heard it? If I make it
Okay, are we paused? I
Not,
was
yeah,
looking-
yeah, hold on. Mike, let me know. I have to transfer it over to you
Oh,
All right.
okay. Never mind. Just put it on pause. Let's do this.
now. All right. Okay, so let's move on to new business,
I did something really bad.
not big business, but
I
new
did
business.
something really bad this week.
Is that your new business?
I got on the side being nuts.
So
I actually talked on a microphone.
Oh,
we
you
do
get
need a
it?
new, we do need a
There is
new
some new
program
business, Mike.
director.
Mike,
Yeah,
there is some new business here before you get started.
okay.
Chrissy over here informed me that he actually used voice for first time in a very long time. He thought he was on CW.
Yeah, I actually got into the Delaware Traffic Net and checked in on sideband. I don't know. I think I was like, maybe on drugs or something that week or something.
Anyway, that's some new business now.
Yes.
Okay, Mike, sorry about that.
We do need a new program director, unless Mike wants to continue. But if not, we need volunteers for presentations for next year. We're looking for about 8 or 9 of them.
Hey, Mike, can I ask a question? How long is
No.
the assignment for the program director?
It's 1 year. Actually, if you look in the
Yeah,
bylaws, it is a position that is
Appointed.
the same, and it's not really appointed. You have to be elected
yeah.
by
For your peers?
by your peers.
Okay.
And it holds the same voting because you're on what you call the executive committee. So it's the president, the secretary, the treasurer, and the program director. Those 4 people are in charge of the club.
Yeah, the executive committee.
Yeah.
5.
5.
I nominate Mike Kiersey.
I can't do it for another year.
So before,
So
let's pause on that a
the
second.
program chairman and the president, we can keep on the same cycle. So Mike, since you're stepping down,
Yeah,
you did 1 year or 2 already?
Oh, you
2.
did 2, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to bring this up for discussion, Mike,
Vacancies can be appointed by the president.
Yes.
So
For they can be appointed for up to the next election year. Because that's what happened. Then I was reelected to that position after 1 year.
Okay. Well,
hold on. That doesn't make sense, because if you were reelected, then the term would have been 2 years.
Right, you would have been reelected. No, but if you're appointed, it's 1 year.
No, so you were elected 2 years ago?
So Mike goes us another year. Is that what you're saying, Mike?
I don't think so.
I have to go back and check the record.
All right, well,
So
discussion
it's
that
either,
I wanted to put this on the
it's
table.
either the role is open for either the role is open, which is fine. We don't have to fill it. It could be we could look at appointing, or you have a year left and you're stepping down and it's a vacancy. Either way, the role is empty.
Right, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it because of
I
COVID
understand.
changes now, and I'm gonna be traveling more, so.
Yeah, I want to say both. So I was thinking about this because what's important about I'll face it, the program director's job is one of the toughest ones in this club. That's a fact. Okay, 1 year is a good assignment, and I think what we need to consider, and I would like candidates out there to consider this. Anyone to at least take it on for a year, because I think one of the things that we're looking for is a lot more. There's 2 things that I think I want to see, focus on. I kind of discussed this with Wendy as she potentially moves into the term. And that is, one is, I believe that the individual should have outreach to other clubs. So we can do an exchange. We can do them virtually. That helps with getting more programs on the slate being addressed. All right, that's one element. The second element on this that I really think is important here, there was a lot of new members, and I like to consider a back to basics series of presentations. I know a lot of you guys are experts, right? There's a lot of folks in the club who are, intermediates, some amateur, some novices. I also believe there are a lot of even expert users who are great in their domain area. A guy named Mike Kersey, for instance, CW, never varies with CW, right? Get him on FT8, well, that'll be like forget about the world's gonna shake here. We get Mike on FT8. But my point is, I'll give you a use case. RIDI is a topic, right? I really want to dive into RIDI. I'm willing to do it on my own, but it'd be nice if somebody did a presentation that helped me get jumpstart myself in using Ready. Right? So I would consider these things as like back to basic topics that could fill in some of the blanks over the year that would kind of balance out this club with some of the newer members. Any thoughts out there?
I think it's a great
Yeah,
idea.
I agree, well, we can all test, like myself, so what, I've got my general and I'm working on my extra, but that doesn't mean I really know how to run bare wire and make an antenna, where some of you guys know how to do stuff. And so I see a lot of us even sharing what our own knowledge is, but I don't know how many of you are involved in other clubs, but I'm a VE with Aurora, which is in Alaska. It's all online. And we have a club of people up there. I'm also with Long Island. So I was thinking, of trying to get some of those guys to do presentations for us too. So if some of you know people down in Maryland or up in PA, share the wealth, and we can also share our stuff with them. I don't know. What do you think?
The other thing that was interesting was I I gave a talk down at the Sussex County group a while back, pre COVID, and they really enjoyed that, and they said, "Oh wow, we should send somebody up to your area, and we could do swapping. Anytime you guys want to do that, let us know." And then COVID took over, so it's everything's kind of been sitting in the back burner now. But now I think with everything coming back in, I think now's the time to do it.
Yeah, and we do have folks that are very active in the e-com who have a lot of dialogue with the other clubs.
Yeah.
Members down on the south part of the state who are club members. So, I mean, these are things we need to consider as we go forward, because I have to admit, it is a tough job if you don't have things lined up.
Right.
We want to make the club exciting, right?
Right.
And
remember, I was gonna say, remember, it's our club. So, you might not know everything, but somebody who does something. So just, throw that out there. If everybody
I'll throw one up there for you. Not too long ago, Frank gave a presentation on Smith charts.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like
Right.
That's back to basic to me. That was a great presentation on going back to some of the basics here that we don't normally use all the time, but it's still very interesting to use. As part of our as part of the hobby.
Some of us
that for
remember
my
when he
extra
did it in
exam.
paper.
What was that, Mike?
So some of us remember when he did it when it was paper.
Paper.
I think I still have one of them.
Paper's right. Maybe hit those little plots on the graph. That is crazy.
But I'd like to second the idea of starting to share with other clubs, because I made 2 trips down to Sussex County to do presentations, and I'm sure there's people down there that would come up and talk to us.
Roger. So anyway, as we move into the month of December, we have to have at least candidates that would consider. It's only 1 year. It's 12 months. I'm sure.
Technically, it's not.
What's that?
Technically, it's not.
Well, I think we need to kind of consider that, because it's a tough assignment for 2 years, Mike.
I mean, it is.
I understand that, but the bylaws are the bylaws at the moment.
What are what do they say?
It's an elected position, and all elected positions are 2-year terms.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they have to serve. They can stop.
So in other words, I can put it in this frame it this way. Those who volunteer, if you only want to do it for 6 months, you want to do it 1 year, we're fine with that.
Yeah.
Nobody will look different on it, because understanding the responsibilities. But we definitely
We'll have
need
to
somebody.
check and see Mike's situation to see if his 2-year term is actually up, or if he is leaving a year on the table.
So it's always 2 years, I guess.
It's always 2 years. That's what it says. But wait, listen, it's the same thing with me being president. I mean, I sat in the job for 6 months and then I was elected.
Right.
position at a job.
All right, so let's table that for next meeting.
Yeah, and I really, really want everyone out there to kind of think about this one.
Think about it, and then we'll table it for the December meeting.
Okay. Okay, other new business.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me try and grab these notes real quick.
Is it always hard to get program director in this club?
I don't. Usually hardest.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I do have one piece of new business. We have an application for membership. Mitch,
You?
Mitch, yep.
Oh.
Right here,
Yeah.
right here.
Although it's not signed, it doesn't matter. I have the email.
It's
I have a
not.
paper copy here.
It's
Oh,
not
okay.
signed. We're not going anywhere with this.
I was just say it doesn't matter. I have
Where is
the
your
email
papers?
from him, so no one's forging his
Papers,
application.
Who is this man?
Yeah.
Who is this man?
Is it notarized?
So we do have to vote, but only current members, only members and current members can vote. So I think Foster is the only one on the list. That's what I'm looking through.
And I won't listen to the vote. So you're good.
How do we know that?
No, we would just have to put him in that waiting room like you
Oh,
did
here we go.
last time.
Purgatory. Oh, you know how much I love doing this.
Sorry.
Okay.
Purgatory.
How about I'll take off.
No, don't take off. I'll put you in purgatory.
It's fine. I can come back later.
The man with the power.
All right, purgatory. What do we?
Is that an option?
Remember last time I did this, I threw everybody out.
He dropped.
Yeah.
He dropped. Okay, so that saves me the headache.
He dropped.
So should I
You
step
need
out?
to step out.
Yes.
Please come back. All right, Mike.
Damn it to hell. Jeez, I can't believe
That guy.
All right. We do things a little different. So everybody knows Mitch. If anybody wants any information, we don't have too much personal information on the application for a reason. But let's just throw it to a vote so we can get it done with. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 There's 4 ayes here.
Anyone
What's his
opposed?
call sign?
His call sign is KC3 SBG, Sierra Bravo Golf.
Okay.
Any opposed? No, I didn't think so.
Congratulations.
All right.
You're in the club. All right.
Let Foster back in.
You're
Maybe.
program director.
Did we tell you that?
Need to know that with the new members of the program director.
Let Foster back in.
I know.
Always throwing
Foster
new
members
members
are
under the bus.
I know, but he's probably come back.
Yay, done it, crew. Yay, done it, crew.
All right.
Any other new business?
Okay. All right, should I make a motion? Oh, well, we have no ARRL update, correct? Nobody here from,
Yeah, where's our ARRL representative?
Okay, so Mark Stillman will be leaving the state of Delaware in January. He has sold his home and purchased a new one in upstate
Yeah.
PA.
Yeah.
And so he's pretty much stepped out of all of his duties. And he's, if we need him, he can intervene for us in ARRL through the end of the year when his term runs out. And his position, nobody is stepping up to. So if anybody's interested in becoming the section manager, it is available.
as I said before, I will do it when I retire.
Only if you're been a technician or higher and 2 years ARRL member.
Right.
That are the requirements.
Yeah, which by the way,
Makes sense.
interesting, we look, when Bill left us, when Bill was our representative,
Yeah.
he was really good at connecting this up with the
He
guys
was
south.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big thing about Bill, I have to say. He was fantastic at joining the clubs up and.
Very personable
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah,
Astro one.
Astro won.
My problem is I only joined ARRL when I moved to
Astro one?
DX.
Who was Astro one that just showed up on our
That's
meeting?
Foster. That's
Foster.
Okay, very
He's
good.
back. He's
He's
back.
back. Okay, any other,
You're gonna.
anything else before I close this meeting?
Jeff?
Okay, can I get a motion on the floor here or motion to close the meeting?
I recommend we close this meeting.
That was second?
Second.
All right.
All in favor,
All in
say
favor?
aye.
All in favor?
Eyes.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, meeting's officially closed. All right, so I'll stick your presentation in.
All right.
Again. All right.
And share.
All right, what a deal.
I'll give you a chair.
You're on,
Hold on.
Mr. Sweeney.
Actually, probably you can probably do.
Is that the one that's got all the,
Two
it's
things.
got all the stuff on it? All the,
If anyone would like, I can email out the PDF when it's only 4 meg.
is this where you got it in Karachi? Karachi in the
No,
middle of a
actually-
soccer riot? You found this stick?
It came over from England.
Well, there you go.
What, the ex-commander?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how we
it's a
do,
brick system.
Yeah. How do we do share desktop part?
I think
Yeah,
it's at the
there's an
bottom.
option at the bottom.
Yeah, it's
somewhere.
at the bottom. Oh, no,
me
don't do
later.
that.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right, bring back the Zoom meeting,
And share.
and at the bottom, there's a share button.
There's a
there.
green button there.
There we go, share screen, and grab the computer, there it is, right there. You got it. That's it.
Now everybody can see it.
Okay.
Edit the slides in the deck.
Presentation.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
All right, you can.
We're good.
The title page. Let's get on to the good stuff here.
That's a blank page.
Yeah, you put that in by accident.
Did I? I guess I did. So anyway, so I follow this guy on YouTube. I also follow Jeff over here. So
Yeah, I like Jeff's page. He's
he's got a good YouTube channel as well.
He's got some good editing going on. actually.
Yeah. Only see the contacts, which is very nice.
Can we, before you start, on our end, here, we can't see it, can you minimize the?
Minimum.
Yeah, no,
Oh, this part here.
yeah, so we don't need to see. There you go. Now we can see. Okay.
Thank you.
Put it up in the corner here
Yep.
somewhere. There's nothing really serious in the corner. Okay, so I follow this guy on YouTube. He's got a great channel and he's very entertaining. He runs basically a family business and he has some other businesses on the side, so it's not the only thing he does, but his son is actually the one who fills all the orders and his wife does all the books, so it's a pretty cool guy. And he puts them in the videos all the time too. So last year he introduced this new antenna called the Nebula, but of course his daughter tried to pronounce it and called it the Nebula. So that was like a running joke on his channel for about 6 months. And I found it very interesting because there is an element on this antenna for almost every HF band. So it does amazing on reception, but of course it is ground mounted radials, ground mounted over radials. And my house is maybe 35 feet from the antenna, so it doesn't do good to one direction. Does fine in all the other directions. So, let me move on here. Anyway, this is his page. M0MCX is the URL, co.uk, so pretty cool.
What was the question you asked?
How tall? 17 meters?
Well, it came out to be 17 meters. It's an 18-meter pole, and then they cut it up and they put the sections inside of each other. So there's a small amount of overlap. I got it out almost to 17. Well, I got it out, slowed down.
So in imperial terms?
Right.
about
56
40
feet.
How long?
56.
56 feet.
Yes.
Okay, it's up there.
So on 80 meters, it has linear loading because you can't really make it stick up past, you can't make a thin piece of wire. Oh, and I brought wire to show you guys, but it's in my backpack in the other room. Oh, take a look at it later.
Should I go get it?
No.
No.
Anyway, I ordered it in the middle of the night. I said, I don't know. I was drinking a little bit and
Drunk-
I had
There you
just sold
go.
a house in Florida.
Drunk.
So that- so that
Drunk,
was-
drunk
I
already.
had $5 grand that I could spend on ham radio.
Whoa.
My wife made me put all the rest of the money away for our retirement, which is where it's at now in the savings account.
You only got 5 out of the deal?
I did get $5. I count that as a
That's
win.
That's a lot of ham radio.
That's a
money.
lot of win there, man. That's a lot of radio.
I did buy a truck as well. That was the down payment on the truck.
Oh, I was gonna say, what happened to the flex radio?
I didn't get the flex. I got a ICOM 7100 for the truck.
There, okay.
There you
So it was a
go.
nice one. Anyway, gave me 2 boxes. The pole is of course in that one long box, and that's the only thing in there. And the other box is the kit. And there's everything you need for this kit. And it was very fast. It was Tuesday night, middle of the night. Maybe around midnight I ordered it.
Overseas.
And it was at my overseas. It was at my door Friday morning at 9 o'clock.
Pre-COVID?
No, this was just 3 months ago.
No
Who'd
kidding.
you order it from?
Wow.
DX Commander directly.
Oh, the
He
Commander.
put it in FedEx overnight.
Wow,
That's,
I think I paid for it though. The overnight.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, because delivery was not included.
150?
No, it was like $70 or something like that.
yeah,
But still,
It's still pretty good.
yeah.
yeah.
That's not bad.
Anyway, enough of mine. Anyway, I have this folding table for field day. If you guys need it.
Thank you.
I have a dirty
We had something.
one and two.
Yeah,
This
I
one's in the
think
garage
so.
and nice and clean.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's all the stuff that's in it. It's inside the little box. You can see, comes with this nice DX10 wire, which is basically the stuff the British military uses. It's from the same vendor that services the British Army.
I'm trying to come up with a good joke here.
And,
Matt.
It's got all the spacers and all the hardware and some rather cheap guide cord. It's really cheap, but works.
Definitely not
Pretty good.
parachute type.
It's not paracord, no. It's thin. It's maybe about 80 tests, 80 pounds.
Mm.
About it. And nice ground plate. This is the stuff that would be very hard to build yourself. If you wanted to build this, say along, a pole of your own, you wanted to build this thing out, you could actually build one of these antennas quite easily. The hard part is this driven plate here and the ground plate on the bottom. Along here is a list of the parts. So there's not a lot. there.
Stainless steel? Yeah,
The nuts and they're all M6 stainless steel. Yeah,
man, nice.
pretty nice that Marine Corps. He's got this 4mm shock cord. It's basically a bungee cord that you have to make yourself. And boy, that was a pain in the butt.
Mm.
That was the hardest part, making those little bungee cords. I think I want to take it down and do it again with a little different material, but we'll see. Really nice glue line heat shrink as well came with that stuff, and that stuff worked great. So anyway, and I still have 100 meters of this DX10. I didn't use it all. I also got a QSL card signed. It's a nice little touch. He has 2 QSL cards, this M0XXT, and he has the other
That's a
one for
cool
M0.
color.
And yeah, this is his business.
Yeah.
Over in England, if you have a place of business, any fixed site has to have its own call sign. So if you operate from 2 places, you have to change your call
So
sign.
ham radio deluxe, ham radio outlet would have a problem, huh?
Well, that XXT there is his experimental station. He's allowed to run 1500 watts if he wants,
Oh.
which you cannot run 1500 watts in the UK. I think you're limited to 600.
And what's the, what was the price of this?
600 pounds.
600
That's what it came
US
to.
pound or
I didn't care. I just
Under
charge it.
$700.
Was that $1,200?
No, it was under 1,000 for the whole thing. Yeah. His price is on his thing here. So here's a pole, which was in that big long box.
Currently
As you
about
can see, I have it-
$810.
What's that?
Telescope.
Currently about $810.
Yeah.
He's
That's not
doing a
cheap.
conversion online.
So you see right there, it's about 56 feet long, like me just doing it by myself. He says you can get it out to, and I got it to 17 meters. He says you can get it about 17.5 meters if you have someone helping you. But I did have a problem between the third and fourth, counting from the inside. There's a little too much of a gap there. I think the pole must have gotten a little bit straight and not tapered there. So when you pull on it, it pulls all the way out. So what I did was I stuck just a little piece of electrical tape on the inside. And I pushed it back in through the bottom and it fixed it just fine. You can't pull the two apart now with a little piece of tape in there. So did a really nice job.
It's enough clearance.
So the pipes are taped.
Yeah, the whole tubing is tapered. It starts out as one tube and then they cut it up and then they put it together back the other way around.
Oh.
That's how they get it together,
Right.
yeah.
Sure, someone over in China is having a good job with the chop saw. That's where this thing comes from.
Oh, it does.
Yes, he orders them from one of the manufacturers and it gets them delivered to his property. So it's pretty good. I got it 56 feet, which is about 17 and a little bit. Said the third and fourth elements are very, very loose. This is how he does it, weighing in at a hefty 6 kilograms. This 12 section thick walled pole is generally a monster. And yes, it was pretty hard to handle all by myself, but I was able to get it up. I don't think I can get it down.
So that is aluminum or is it steel?
That is fiberglass.
Fiberglass. That was gonna be my next question.
That is fiberglass.
Okay, that's gonna be heavy.
I have a 43.
Yeah.
I have a 43-foot one like that, and it gets unwieldy.
15.
Yeah, it gets heavy.
Yeah, this one, the longest
12
one I've
pounds.
ever seen.
Yeah, but 12 pounds.
I know.
From the pole here, here's the nice wire. This stuff is pretty sweet. Very easy to handle. It's doesn't really kink up or anything like that.
That came in a box too?
I got 4 of these reels. There's 2 in this picture, but I got 4 of these. I built this out of a piece of like MDF and a couple pieces of pine. I built myself a little thing to hold up the spools.
Stand, yeah.
And that's sitting out on my deck, and that's where I was building this whole thing. So it comes pretty good, and it's rated down to minus 40 Celsius. So I don't think anybody's going to be operating at that temperature outside.
Well, we're gonna
Winter
have.
field day.
Minus 40.
You never know.
And the Antarctica.
Listen, if it's minus 40, I'm gonna tell you, we have a whole bigger problems, my friends.
Batteries are not gonna work.
I'll say that. Things are gonna break real easy too.
So the only downside to this wire is it's not quite 18 AWG, but it's larger than 19 AWG. That 0.2 there is square millimeters that sucker is. So the copper is very thin. So you really can't go more than about 400 or 500 watts on this thing.
Can't put a kilowatt through it.
You cannot put a kilowatt through it, especially not if you like to talk a lot.
That's not.
Or
my
CW.
problem.
No.
That's it.
CW puts out a lot of power if you want to
Yeah,
run around
it'd
it.
definitely be Chet's problem.
But you could easily just replace this with some 14 gauge wire and have no trouble whatsoever with it. So I have the wire here. All right, so this is my cut sheet. Well, the cut sheet that he had suggested, so I chose these 2 elements and I ditched the 40 and the 80 single elements and I went with these other 2 so I could get the other 2 bands in there. And this one actually plays really nice. The 15 meter works very well on TX. I have not really tried this guy on 10 meters yet, so I do have a nice 10 meter antenna on a mast out behind my house that's up much higher, so I use that sucker. As you can see the cut sheet here, they got 24.7, which is the overall length of the wire, but you fold it back at 17.5. Now, if you saw my, I could only pull it out so far. So basically what I did was I put a piece of heat shrink on the top of the pole, and I pulled a loop of wire through and just put a piece of straw, basically it's just a straw in there, and I heat shrink the whole thing down. So I actually made the mast 17.5 meters long by adding a little additional piece of plastic to the top of it. And it's kind of flopped over a little bit now, but it still seems to work. He gets this 80 meters doing linear loading. And you see the length of that wire at 24.7 meters is pretty long. Be kind of too long for 80 meters, not quite 160 meters yet. But the fact that it's linear loaded, it actually sucks up a lot of that extra length in the wire itself. And tunes up very nicely. So, but we'll get to that at the end.
You get a message up there at the chat
Message in the chat.
at the top there. Yeah.
Oh, just a good night.
Good night. See you, Brian.
Okay, so the only thing I had a problem with is transmitting on 12 meters. I don't have any other 12 meter. I got a 10 meter antenna that I can tune up, and it does a pretty good job, but it's terrible on receive. This thing actually does very well on receive, but it's terrible on transmit. Nobody hears me. I've done some whisper tests on it. I think it's a cloud burner. It's going.
How's it handled in the wind so far?
In the wind hasn't been a problem. We haven't had rules.
You can show us some pictures while it's up.
Yeah, let me
Let's get
keep
some
going
pictures.
here. So here goes the stuff in the kits, building out all these things. So on one of Callum's videos, he suggested putting these little beads on there so I could tell the difference between although it's kind of hard to misidentify the 80 meter element because it's a lot of wire. But the other elements need that because you'll never know. You're looking at it down at the bottom and things strung up all the way to the top. So at least you'll know which one it is. And I did put it on for every last one of these guys. And if anybody wants some, I have a lot of extras.
Beads.
Beads with numbers and hearts and pound signs. But
Well, you can start bringing a little jewelry business.
I definitely don't want to have them get loose around the house. Cats will play with them and
Yeah,
end up stepping on them. And
Yeah,
that would be
like
terrible. So, anyway, this is how it all came, all this big pile of stuff that I had to separate out, but you can see the little fork connectors in there and plenty of heat shrink tubing. So that's what I did. I soldered everything, put the heat shrink on above and below the numbers so that the numbers wouldn't move, and came up pretty good. I just sat there for about an hour and built out all these elements. So let me get on to the next one here. This is where I was cutting them. I did convert everything to American.
To the 16th of an inch.
To the 16th of an inch, that's right. And mainly because I do not have a metric tape measure. If I had a metric tape measure, I probably would have just done it in meters. But it was a lot easier this
That would
way.
be something you find on YouTube.
I wrote a little program that would convert in Java,
Good.
spit out all the answers for me, put it in a
Java.
spreadsheet. I
Java.
write Java, that's my job. So that's all on my decks. I had a section of railing about 16 feet apart. So it was much easier when I was doing that. I just wrapped the wire back and forth between the 16 so I come up with the right measurement and then the tape measure to get the excess and cut it off. As you can see from that one picture there. I basically got all these elements in. There's my little torch I use to do the heat shrink, works great. Yeah, just keep it all manageable.
By the way, you don't have to look at this. You don't have to look up there. You can look at right there.
Oh, that's true.
You get next strain and watch.
So anyway, the radials were a little bit longer than 16 feet, so I added a couple more screws. And I was building 4 radials at a time, running them into one fork connector. So I just wrapped 4 wraps, and that got me 4 10-meter sections. So it's pretty easy to.
So you created an assembly line for the lengths of wire. But you had to make so many.
A lot of radials.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, 32 radials.
Wow. Wow.
So, but there's plenty of wire in the kit. Like I said, there's still 100 meters more wire if I need to replace anything. It's a huge kit. Anyway, go on to the next one. So this was the hard part. You got to get these hose clamps, and then you have to put a rubber hose. You have to put the hose clamp inside of the hose. That was the hard part, squeezing them in that rubber. This gives it some more friction, so that when you clamp down on that big long tube, it actually will hold. The hose clamps by themselves, I've seen some people building their DX commanders with just the hose clamp.
Yeah.
And maybe they're taking a shortcut, but I don't know if it's gonna hold up for very long. I want this thing to be permanent. It's not gonna be like Weekend Warrior. I'd get a much smaller DX commander. than this guy, because this guy is just too big, too unwieldy. What's the next slide here? So here's here's the ground plane. Ground plate. You can see he does a really nice job with this, putting this little doodad. This is actually put together. I think his son does it in the videos. He puts like, it must be his only job.
Pigtail.
He puts about 50 of these pigtails together in a couple of the videos. And puts them all out. So, and they're really, really nice stainless steel hardware, wing nuts, everything, stainless steel. Nice little aluminum plate on the bottom. So comes out pretty good. And the driven plate, I think we'll see that on the next one here. There's the driven one on top of it here. So everything's pretty much done right now. I just got to go out and put it out. So he did list this on his instructions that this could be 60 or 12. And I thought it was 60 and 12, but it's not really. It's 60 or 12. You have a choice there. But I chose to put the 60 meter element in. And if I numbered all these together so that I would know while I was going through with the 80, I would go to the 80, the 80 to the 80, all the way up to the top. So I wouldn't have any wires crisscrossed. So.
Oh, no, you would have a circular polarized.
Right, and this was it's my little cheap tablet that I have, and it's basically how I was running through the instructions out on the deck. And of course, it's pretty warm that day, so the tablet was very hard to see, pretty dark. And here I am assembling it. I didn't get a lot of pictures assembling because this is a pretty good two-handed job to do all this stuff.
Actually, I like that.
But I did want to get some pictures. Here's the 80 meter element. This was my first 80 meter element. I put this thing up and tested it out and decided that I wanted to go to the 80 and 10 and the 40 and 15. So this was the first one I put on there, and then I replaced this element. You can see here's the rubber around the hoses, and that's the that insulator there is that I guess it's like coriander, like you would get. I think it's what they call it, right? Coriander. For to cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, for cutting, like cutting board material. That is what it is. That is. It is pretty good quality stuff, and he has this thing built really nice. DuPont probably comes from here and goes over there.
Yeah.
And then he sends it back to Delaware.
And they make it over there under contract.
That's
Probably Delrin.
Retailer in, yeah.
There it is, it's up, and you can see, this is me just standing at the base of this antenna, and I'm actually standing all the way up. 6 foot of me, and pointing the camera up in the sky.
So is that taller than the trees in your yard?
Yeah, they're behind my house here. I have another picture.
So that's an antenna collector, I mean, a lightning collector, right?
Hopefully the lightning arresters will do their job. I do have everything on the house protected.
I know, just saying, it's just scary when you put a piece of metal up that high.
I put 4 ground rods in before anything comes to my house, and it's distributed out at about
Around the house, yes.
around where the antennas come in. There are 6 ground rods there.
That's a
4
good
ground
back to
rods,
basics
6 foot long.
presentation. Let me tell you that right now about
Yeah.
grounding, because it's important.
Before that, I had RF in the shack all
Yeah.
the time.
Mhm.
So putting the ground rods in keeps the RF out of your house.
Yep.
And keeps your television from shutting off every time you transmit. My TV was turning off completely.
I have 3 ground rods on the way in.
You gotta get some tube types.
Here's another little picture.
Yeah, I have 3 rods going.
I had to take
My
these,
210.
because I didn't take any finished pictures when I was building it. I was pretty happy getting it up and playing with it. I didn't take any more pictures after I was playing with it. You can see there, I have the antenna coax coming in, and the ground plane is actually under these leaves, and you really can't see it because it's sitting on top of a concrete pad and with a pole in the middle of it. So just a fence post with a bag of Saccrete on the bottom there. And it holds this thing up. I probably don't really need guide wires. It ain't gonna go anywhere. I would have a hard time getting it out. So the post is about 3 feet tall. And wrap the top up with tape, drop the whole thing down on top of it. It's not moving anywhere. First time I erected it, I didn't have anything in the ground there. And I was testing it out, just it sitting on the ground and the guide ropes holding it up, and it held up pretty good. Didn't go anywhere. And I did all my testing and all that on it. Finally came up with I like this particular set of elements, and I stuck it up. As you can tell, my 80/10 there has a little part in the middle. Just to keep it light.
That's cute.
Yeah, there's the 40 and the 15-meter band.
Let's see your curves, man. Let's see your curves.
There's another picture of my backyard. I've got the Christiana River behind me, so I've got plenty of room. There's 260 feet of wire in the air way back there. It keeps going back and back and back almost to the river. So that's how I get a 160 with an end fed. And that thing works great on 80, on 160, 80, and on 60 meters. It actually tunes up real nice on 60 meters. So, but this for everything else.
Doesn't have a homeowners association, so he gets away.
I do have a homeowners association. They have no teeth.
Yeah.
They can't sue you for anything. The only thing I can't do in my property is build a house more than 2 stories tall. They just don't want any 3. That's the only deed restriction on the house. It's really nice. And it's $50 a year for the homeowner association. That's just to pay for the.
Yeah, that's me too, same way.
Yeah. Just to clean up
For
the
snow.
thing.
Snow.
There's
For
the
the snow
curves.
rule, all right. So here's the chart. I ran this on the Nano VNA.
There it is.
This is from 3.5 megahertz to 29.7. And that top line there, you don't know if you can see it, is 3-to-1. So
Wow.
everything.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
Everything
good.
is under 3-to-1. So this thing is a great antenna if you're, you like to listen to shortwave.
I was gonna say, it looks
It
like,
will work on.
well, it
every
loves 30
shortwave.
meters. Looks like 30 meters it really loves.
Yeah, it's somewhere around in here, 30 meters.
What's it at 14? What's it at?
At
20 meters.
14, I think I have 14 on there. I can read this guy here.
What's the green one?
At 14, it's 2.054.
That's 2-to-1.
2-to-1. At 3.75 megahertz, it's 2.2-to-1.
That's pretty good.
And on 40 meters, it's 2.1-to-1. So it's pretty good. I think I can get this better though. I just have to play around with it. And try and reduce. And as you can see that I've got the Smith chart there. I don't know if anybody can read that, but that thing just goes around. The center point there, which is 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Never quite hit 1-to-1. So it's no place that it's actually resonant at.
So you don't even need a tuner for it.
Well, I do use the tuner from
Do?
the Icon 7300. Matter of fact,
Yeah,
every time I
that's
switch
suitable.
bands, it automatically switches. It knows what I'm connected to.
Yeah.
It reads the frequency.
And that tuner was designed for that kind of SWR anyway. So
Yeah,
it's perfect.
3-to-1.
Yeah. Right.
I do have a better tuner. You guys actually saw it in one of the old presentations, because I bought it down at the Hamfest down in South Delaware.
Mhm.
So, and it was actually one of the little pictures we had up. So I did pick that one up. And I'll zoom that in a little bit if
There you go.
anybody wants to see any more of the curves.
Hmm.
Not really sure why it looks this way.
It's resonant at
I may just go
30.
out there and take a couple of the elements off and see which ones are playing.
Yeah,
I bet you that sucker will you get more resonance, so more,
Yeah, it'll probably be better if I get rid of, if I only put one
but you're gonna have
element on.
some places where it's gonna be really high though. That's the problem.
Yeah. But it works great. Transmits well, everything except for 12 meters. It's like 8 dB down.
It's 2.
So there's that Smith chart blown up a little bit. No, it really doesn't tell me anything. I've seen these Smith charts before. And every once in a while, you'll see if you have a resonant antenna, there'll be a little
Right on the dot.
thing right in the middle, a little loop. But there's no little loops on this one, just pretty flat all
It's
the
all
way
right.
across.
Looks good though.
And here's my impressions. So, works great.
You lose a little power because of the SWR, but
I don't think you lose much.
no.
And what's the signal reports? Do we know?
I do very well on, I've got, I just hit, what do you call it, down in Africa. Somebody was doing the expedition down there. I got them on the first try.
Luceto?
Lesotho, yeah.
Sideband?
No, I didn't do them sideband, FT8.
Oh, it doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
No. I mean, for the antenna reception. You gotta use either
Ah.
sideband or CW.
I can tell you this, if you look at PSK Reporter, and I've been leaving my rate, I'm trying to get WIS on 12 meters. And I'm pretty close, 39 states, and about 5 that haven't responded back to me yet, so.
Or the RPN is good too.
But I do, on PSK Reporter, I'm usually the top reporter, or one of the top reporters on 12 meters. So it receives very well. On my old fed, I used to be one of the top receivers of reports on 40 meters. So maybe I just have a good location. And that 7300 is a really nice radio for receiving.
You got a lot of your noise levels low too.
I think I do have a very low noise level. When I have this one antenna that I put closer to the house, and the noise level shot up on 20 meters. It was killing me. All I did was I moved that antenna out of the way so I could put up the DX commander, and magically that antenna started working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So just reorienting it, fixed it up quite a bit. I do have a nice antenna that I could transmit on. My 10-meter antenna, I can actually transmit 12 meters on. It's like 2-to-1 SWRs. And it's a half over a quarter antenna. I don't know what it means. I guess it's more like a J-pole inside the shield for 10 meters. But it's really good on 10 meters, but it gets a lot of noise from inside the house because it's right up against the house. So I actually received much better on the DX commander.
I like that. I'm sure it's a cloud burner.
Yeah. So when I'm out there, I switch my antenna switch over to the 10-meter antenna for transmit, and then I'm down there and I have to do this manually. Switch it back for receive. Switch back to DX commander for receive. It really receives very well.
That's
I haven't tried it on 6, says it'll tune up on 6, but I've got a nice 3-element collinear for 6 meters up in the trees back behind my house out in the wild land back there. And it does really good.
And how do you get it up so high? Or how do you?
The 6-meter one?
Yeah.
Fishing line and slingshot.
Slingshot, yeah.
Yeah. And 3/8 ounce lead weight works great.
Yeah, I was thinking, I got the slingshot, and then I also have a young kid.
Well, I did try just putting the slingshot and the reel together, but it turns out that a spinning reel, you definitely need that first eyelet because it keeps the wire, the fishing line in the right angle. So now I have that all married up. So it looks like I'm fishing with a slingshot. And the reel is under and the slingshot is over, and I just shoot that sucker over the trees. That thing works great. And I got a nice, I go to like the clearance rack over at Home Depot and pick up the paracord.
Oh, yeah.
They'll usually have some like cutoff ones, like 300 something.
Yeah.
And
I've always wondered who anybody, Chet, you ever used a drone to do anything like that?
No, I haven't. But
did try to use the drone for that, but I am a terrible drone pilot.
Yeah.
I did. I bought like a little drone that was on sale. It was like $25 out at JCPenney's. So I tried that sucker, man, but it got whipped around all over the place. I crashing it twice.
Just bring it up and then just, you take a fishing line and take it all the way over.
That
bring
would
it
be,
down.
that's what I was thinking. It would be great. 'Cause then I wouldn't have my 160-meter antenna going up and down as it goes through the tree limbs. So it would be nice.
You may want to ask anybody on the call if they have questions.
Yeah, does anybody have questions? That's all the next slide is. It's just gonna say questions, so. I'll leave it on this.
Do we lose
Anybody
anybody?
else?
is there anybody on the?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay.
We're fun to
You can stop share if you want.
Any questions on that?
Ken, you said it doesn't do well on transmit.
Only on 12 meters, but there's no element there for 12 meters. I'm pretty sure it's either the 60 or 80-meter one. It's
Couldn't you just-
resonating on that and shooting up into space.
Considering the design of this thing, couldn't you just put cut a wire that's specifically for 12 meters?
I could, but I'd have to take one of the other elements out.
Why?
It's only 6 holes, 6 spaces.
You got a drill?
I could possibly make some outrigger to bring a 12-meter element out. That's what I'm thinking. And
Yeah.
I just bought myself a 3D printer and I'm gonna play with it.
Huh?
So
Make one.
Yeah.
thinking about making a little spacer and then put a 12-meter element up.
Well, we know one thing, we can't put this antenna in an attic, that's for sure.
Nope.
But we could use it on field day. We could use it on winter field day. Just
They
pop that
have
puppy up.
a smaller one that would
Actually,
work.
I do have a question about, I got Paul on the call. So Paul, are you there? Are you alive?
Sort of, yeah.
So there's a lot of somewhat similarities, not similarities, but interesting, a different type of vertical than what you have put up in your yard when your home built.
Yeah.
Interest-
Well, it is got a number of similarities. I mean, I've actually thought one of the problems with the 43-foot vertical is that it's pretty much useless above about 17 meters because it becomes a long wire antenna and the beam just goes straight up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've thought about, maybe putting a shorter element so you could use it there. I don't actually, mostly I use the dipole in my attic for the higher frequencies, but I mean, there's a lot of sort of variants that you can do. I mean, this is essentially, it's the monopole version of a fan dipole.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So I think we should go over to Ken's house, take it down and get our tape measures and just kind of reverse engineer this thing.
I built it exactly as all the cut sheet is right off his website.
Yeah, right. So you can almost fabricate it, right?
If you had a tree, you could run that driven ring around the outside of the tree on standoffs.
Yeah.
And then run all of those elements straight up your
Around the tree. Right.
And just have it going out maybe about 15 degrees.
Because you
out
gotta
in
have a
every
straight
direction.
tree, a tree that's straight. That's the.
Yeah,
We could do it for
a
50.
pine tree.
A pine tree.
We could do it for under $100.
Yeah, you could do it for a lot less than $100 bucks.
Depot, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Hey, guys, did I hear that correct? It's basically just a fan dipole, but it's
One
vertical.
half of a
Is
fan
that what it is?
dipole.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Very cool.
I've seen a
Alright,
lot
another
of people
thing,
use
by the
different
way-
mod- the other thing I'll say is you can always add I mean, it's got the radials, which is always the best option. You can also add a ground screen in addition to the radials.
I was thinking the same thing.
That actually would help resonate, make it resonate more.
So I'm really impressed with the way,
There's a lot of room to put more radials on that thing. too.
That's what you need to do. I think that will improve.
I put some longer 20-meter long radials out towards towards Europe.
during field day, Paul's antenna works really, really well. And I think that screen is a secret. that
Yep.
makes
It adds
makes
just
it
a lot
work.
more capacitance to the
Yeah,
bottom.
right.
Yeah.
It'll pull some of your signal down, but having very long verticals actually will pull the signal out in a particular direction. But it just means that there'll be less going in other directions. That's the downside of that.
Very good.
So Paul, your antenna is not resonant on any frequency. Is that right?
That's right. It's
Yeah.
the standard 43-foot 43-foot vertical is basically intended to be a 5/8 antenna on 20 meters. So it's half of an extended double ZEP is what it is. And you can use it on lower frequencies with somewhat less radiation resistance. I mean, I've actually, I've made contacts in Europe on 160 with it. It's not something I normally try to do, but because it's a 5/30 seconds or something. So it's not great on that, but it's optimal on 20 meters because that's where the 5/8 wavelength vertical monopole has the highest gain for a single element. But it's just nowhere near resonance, so you have to have a tuner.
Well, that folded 40 meters element on there is actually a 5/8 wave length for 15 meters.
Right,
So
exactly.
It does really good.
Yeah, so that it's 5/8 wave verticals. If you can tune them, I mean, if you have a tuner that has the sufficient reactance to tune
Right.
a 5/8 wave. It makes a great antenna. It's the fundamental problem with a vertical monopole is you get half the gain of a vertical dipole because there's half as much antenna. So, so you figure an extended double ZEP has, 5 point something dB of gain probably. So you subtract 3 dB from that, and now you're down to 2 point something. And then in the real world, maybe it's more like 1 point something, but it does have gain, which a lot of compromise antennas basically don't. So yeah, it works pretty well. But as I said, the biggest problem with it is that once you get above 3/4 wavelength, it starts turning into a long wire antenna, and the radiation, the takeoff angle becomes very high. And the antenna will, with that tuner, I can tune anything from 160 through 6 meters, but you transmit on anything above 17 and no one hears you.
Okay, Ken, thanks for your presentation.
Yeah, great.
All right, I think we'll close the meeting here, close the event. Thank you. A meeting next month is gonna be was it the 3rd week?
Yes.
December the 16th. 16th is our next
16th.
meeting, so
16, yep.
yeah, so we are,
Are we gonna do a tree this year?
we talked, oh, by the way, we talked about having a
Dave
raffle.
shows up.
Was that?
Well, what I can do is I can take a picture of the tree.
So we were thinking about doing a raffle for this next meeting in September or December.
Winner needs to be present.
Winner needs to be present, and we were thinking about doing an HT for for being present.
For one of those $29 HTs that transmits everywhere at once.
No, this would be this would be an HT. This is not like freebie stuff, so it's you have to be present to win.
Oh, boy.
So
So tempting.
So
Try to-
we'll put out more details at the before the meeting, so you know.
I have
Hey
the ticket.
guys, the Model Rocket Club down in Maryland that I've sometimes watched those guys shoot off their rockets. They launch Christmas trees at Christmas time. They just put motors on them and launch the Christmas trees. So maybe so I'm thinking we should have a contest where we load up a Christmas tree as an antenna.
Yeah, Ken, can they launch a pumpkin?
Load up your Christmas lights as an antenna and have a contest.
Also, you do a winter field day is use Christmas lights for an antenna.
Yes.
And when you transmit, the colors come on.
Can't do it with LED. It's gotta be.
Yeah, LEDs would be a problem, yes. All righty. Thanks, folks, for joining in tonight. See you next month.
Thank you. Happy
Bye-bye.
Thanksgiving.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
You have a program for next month?
Do we have a program for next month?